Hello, hello, you. Welcome. Let me check if the sound is working fine. Give me a second here. YouTube is still loading. Hello, hello, you. Welcome. Let me check if the sound is working fine. Give me a second here. Oh, looks okay. YouTube is still loading. Hello, hello. Okay, let's go. Today class, I already had this class today morning, but during the class I have an internet connection and then I'm doing it again. So I hope this one will be much better. One thing that I change, if we go to our README file, right before the class, I add this section here that is getting started. And the idea for this section is that it will help people to clone the repository, install everything that is needed, verify the installation, and recommendation for the two Visual Studio Code extension that I am using and how to install, depend what you are using, and how to install the front-end dependency. So we go to the folder and you run npm install. How to install the backend, just .NET Restore, and how to run the project. And there are two ways to run. One is manually by starting the database Docker container, and then in the console application, start the front end and the back end and the front end application. Or we can just run everything in Docker, running this Docker Composer app. As we are doing development, the best for us is have this manual one, because we will be able to see the change right away. And in this one, there is a list of commands here that we have to do the new build if you want to deploy. Later on, we're going to see this more when we start to deploy our application to the cloud or wherever we're going to deploy. But for now, let's just follow the instructions. So I stop right here, how to run manually. And let's open my console, and then let's go to our folder. Vera, and I'm here, and then I run. I already have those guys here, so I don't need to type everything. Docker compose app -d, so we don't lock the screen, and db. This extension show us as well, and then we could run from here. But imagine that we are not using this extension, we use a different IDE or a code editor. Now we need to go to our backend application and then run .NET run. I'm gonna keep this running because this is how it is. It's listen to the support, but this process has to be running. I will create a new tab. That new tab I go up and then to the front end folder. And now I run this guy here. sudo npm run dev. Do you remember why the sudo? I put observation here, a note right here. It's because we are set up to the port 80, and then in this Linux configuration that is required. Maybe if there is a different distribution or a different OS like Windows or Mac, maybe that is not required. So now both are running, and let's test. I open this application and we have exactly what was there since last class. We can do a sign up. This login is doing nothing. And today, what I will ask the AI, and I will try to simulate some things that happen and to open your eyes how dangerous using AI could be, like if you don't know what we're doing. So let's start by saying, I need a new login component that will use the How was that API you used? Was the if we go here to the back end and look in our back end, sorry, used in our project, I can see here that it's called bcrypt. Using bcrypt as bcrypt to validate the login. Please, not please, no, add a link in the main page to the login. Let's see how AI is going to produce these results. And another tip I'll give you is every time pay attention what AI is doing and use that to learn. Don't blindly get what is being done and then go ahead. Unless you know what you are expecting, you are just trying to do a demo or a prototype, so you don't need to worry about how it was done. But as this training, the focus is beginners. I hope all you are like learning. It's very important to use these tools to help us to understand better, to know more things. So let's see how it goes. I'm gonna say keep here. And the good thing is we can always check our source control tab and we can see exactly what is changing. I waited to finish because before it was getting like corrupted, maybe because I was opening the file at the same time. So let's see if I can avoid that now. And it's telling you what is being done. Is edit the user controllers, probably to add a controller method for the login. Then is going to manage and track to do items, create a login file, and then, okay, say all. Perfectly, it's never perfect. Don't trust about that. You have to verify yourself. So it's saying that in the login endpoint, that is called API user login, find by email, validate password, use this guy, return use if excluding password if it's correctly. So let's see how it is. I'll keep the change and then we're going to investigate how this was done. So if we go to our page, we should be able to reload and let's see how it is. So, as we cannot decrypt the password, like we can always encrypt it and compare. So I'm gonna connect to my database. I open a query in our database and I select everything from users. Because I will copy this email that we just used before, and then I'll try to do a login for that user. So I'll put this guy here, and then the password. Let's put a wrong password just to see how the validation is going. So it's sure, see there is an error, unexpected end of JSON input. So this may be because we changed the backend. As you can see here in the change file, we have to change the user controller. But we did not restart the backend. So the code that is run is still the previous one. So just make sure, let's stop and run again. I know there is a way to run this in watch mode. We're gonna do this later on. And let's see. Now let's go here and I'm just gonna to log in again. And now it's working fine. It say invalid email password. Let's put the right one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and let's log in. So looks like now it's fine. We can do the login. I will ask something else just to be more like a real application. I say this. Okay, so if you are happy, it's nice to do a commit, but we didn't investigate the code yet. And maybe there is some strange thing happen in here. See, this is the login. we can see how login is working. So as we can see, there is some use state, there is a validate form, and then there is this fetch there. After you do the login, we get a response if it's okay or not. So if it's not okay, we show whatever is coming from the backend. However, look what happened when the login is correct. We use the local storage to set the user information. And I know that this is a big no-no. No software engineer that really knows what needs to be done will come for the solution. This is the point. If you don't know basic and the fundamentals of software engineer, your solution from the AI will look fine, but when you go live, any hacker that does know even a lot can just break into your application and put it down. And this has happened over and over. There is multiple reports of people falling for this. They create an application that looks good, but when they deploy, the application just stop, crash, because easily someone can just hack it. So, for example, what is happening here is our front end is validate, is get a response from the back end, and here is using the local store to indicate that. So let's see how compile to React, and let's say I check the code and I see you are using local storage to confirm the authentication. Is that safe? Should we use something like JWT, that is Java Web Token, JavaScript Web Token? How I know this? Because in my training that I already gave, if we go here, let me open that is Codano.live. In our class, we will find a class about this, authentication. So if you open this, this is the class. It's like this one, however, I'm speaking Portuguese.
Alô, alô, tá estando?
And I try to show
E aí, pessoal,
all the
bem-vindo a
details.
mais
So
uma aula.
if
Hoje eu tô
for you
gravando
this is completely
inusitadamente de
new,
manhã. É
I
feriado
recommend
nos
you
Estados
to,
Unidos.
you can watch
Deixa eu ver se
those,
tá
the
tudo
same
funcionando bem
training.
aqui primeiro.
I guess there is an option you
Inusitadamente
can
de
go
manhã,
here
hoje é
and
feriado,
enable
que
caption,
é chamado Memorial
and
Day.
you can choose the language
E
that
aí
you want
eles
to use
celebram,
here.
né,
So
aqueles que
I
pereceram
hope
durante as
my
guerras.
English is good
Então,
enough so the
assim,
translator can work in it. So
guerra é uma coisa horrível, né?
if
Infelizmente,
for
né,
you is
acontece hoje
something
em dia,
very
mas algumas, tipo a
new,
Segunda
I recommend you to understand this
Alô,
because I
tá
talk about
estando?
many different
E aí,
ways
pessoal, bem-vindo a mais
to do it. So if you open the documentation here, you could at least read about it. So in the documentation, I explain different ways to do authentication, why we need authentication, options, and one of them is this JWT, JSON, I said JavaScript, sorry, it's JSON Web Token. And there is some pros and cons, and I show the implementation. So there is the code here that has authentic. Oh, I have to fix that. There is a broken code there. I gonna fix it. Okay, so just to let you know about this, let me close this guy, and now I will hit enter. Is that safe? So let's see what is gonna be told here, because this is something that is a proof that AI out of the box, if you don't know how to ask, maybe if I ask initially, oh, could you please do me a login using JWT or whatever? So do you see, you absolutely the current implementation using localhost to store user data directly is not secure for production use. But my question is, if the AI knows about this, why they give me this? So when you are live, no one is going to take it. Oh, AI gave me. a scrap solution that if you don't know how to validate, you'll be in trouble. So don't believe everything you hear out there about, oh, it's perfect. It's very good. For me, I guess, complement what something that I don't like to do and I don't remember. So it's very amazing to use, but you have to validate as a software engineer. If you are blindly believing what the AI is giving to you now, you're gonna be in trouble. Your customer, your company, or your solution will be in big trouble. So now let's see. Should I go ahead? Yes. Yeah, I will say yes. Please. And I'll be watching here. Let me close all those files to see if what is going to be changed there. Those are the steps. We have to add to the backend, configure the backend, the front end, and then update login in the register as well. So 5 steps. So he is adding the libraries for this JWT beer and then the JWT. Let's allow it. I'll keep it. One of the value I want to bring to this training is this. We are far from a point where we can just rely on AI to build real-life application. This is a good example. Not even a junior engineer would be excused to do something like this. Create an application that has, I know that happened, even before AI, there is multiple application that was built by beginners like that just have those issues. But if there is any engineer, software engineer review a solution, this will never go to your code base or be deployed. So let's see how the code is going here. There is something else. Okay, let's keep it. Change the user controller. Imagine that we are like building something that we're gonna sell. We can make a demo so our stakeholders see, oh, awesome, great. The look is perfect, but if no one is open the hood to see what is under the code implementation, we will be in trouble. This is just one example, and we're gonna see multiple other ones like down the road. Okay, another one. Let me keep it. Now complete update login, perfect. After step update, let's see. And now it's very important to learn from this, what was done. In the backend project, they added the 2 libraries that we need. There is a new app setting entry, changing the program CS, and we can see all this here. So basically it's important to review. So now let's try. What you do is, let's go to our backend. As I know there is like multiple changes. Let's reload it. Let's do the same here as well because there are like multiple changes. Okay, let's go to our application. No, I don't want any of this. Let me reload. And then let's try the login now. Login. How I deleted the thing? I don't want to remember those. So, but I will do this later on. Let's go to our database, copy this email that we know that the password is 123456, and let's try. Yeah, login successful. But now we have to say, okay, what is going on? Oh, and as you can see, the register is not there anymore. But we are still in this page, so there is something odd with our application. Of course, we didn't build anything yet, but I will ask some more, like, okay, let's see here what was changed. If you go to our app settings, we can see that there is a key. And this is the key. Do you see this? Your super secret key that is at least 32 characters long for. So This is a key that we should later on replace. Another common mistake that some beginners will do is to put the real key here and commit into your source code. So then a hacker can get that and be able to exploit your solution. So those keys has to be hidden in a way, in a web service, in a secret that no one can have access to it. Here's just some names like the issuer, the audience, and how long that key, that token will be valid for. So 60 minutes. Because as we know in JWT, every time we create a token, we should not create a token for months, even days. We create a token for the time that will be reasonable for the user to be using it. It's like you go to the bank and someone give you, oh, do you know I'm gonna give you this ticket? And I don't ask for your identification for the next 1 hour, as long as you show me this ticket. So there is a nice theory behind the JWT that I hope you do some digging there. You can ask AI to explain you. This is the project. This is the main thing that there is some code added there. The user controller, so probably gonna see the new method there for the login. And some change in the create user as well. Do you see there is the token here? And then this is the app. Oh, and here there is a to-do, navigate login page when implemented. So this should not be there anymore after that we have the login. This is the login page. And then this is the new service that was created to implement this token. And as you can see, there are multiple hard-coded URL that this should never be in a real application. This should be coming from configuration file that you can change depending of the environment. So we're going to do a to-do and check this later on. Eventually, we do this while you are prototyping, create a solution, but I will never do my first PR in my job or any job with those things here. I may have it while I'm testing locally, but before I check in, I will change this to variables. In our case, we maybe wait 1 or 2 class before we tackle this, we go for this. But one thing that I will ask is that this application looks like kind of not showing like a real application. So imagine that you are happy with this. I can explain. So, I will ask. Now the application is professional. No, I say is the application secure and ready for real? Oh, and ready for deployment. Let's see what it's going to tell us. Okay, so I say, no, the application is not ready for production deployment. Why did you have to implement this good foundation? There are several critical security issues that need to be addressed. The first one, the secret is in our source control, so that is obvious one. There is some no rate limit, so we should be able to later on avoid that someone try to do the login over and over, so they can try to brute force a password. No HTTPS enforcement, of course. We're gonna see all this other one later on. The same for the core, is still permissive. And then no refresh tokens. So this is what I was expecting, but just to let you know how many talks we do have that are not still ready to go to production. And that is where a lot of people is having trouble with AI solutions. Okay? Okay, so for now, let's just do this. I want to do something like this. I want the application, the UI is centralized vertically. and I would like it to be at the top, like a regular web application with the menu at the top of the page. Let's see if it's gonna change that for us, because for now was okay, looks good, but some applications like this, but I want to be like a regular application where everything goes to the top. So let's see how this will be. So look, it's doing changes in those page, but I don't think it should be there. So if I save and reload, I say sorry. Oh, not sorry. It's still not at the top. Maybe you should check a higher level container. Because I know already from the previous class that it has to change in the index dot HTML or main. Oh, look this. Yes, index CSS. Okay, found it. So this, so you see here, there is a display that is flex. And then we are changed to center now. And I hope this goes all the way to, no, now is what I was expecting. If we do the login, let's see how, okay. Let's go here so we can get one user email. And then right now we know that the password is 6, and let's log in. It's showing here login successful, but it's not good. No, we should go to a dashboard or a home page. So I will ask for the next change. I says create new components, new input components, just as placeholders for dashboard, product, and customers. Only allow access to these components for logged user. I want to have at least input components to show this. And we already saw this in the previous training as well. I will stop to repeat this, but we need to know about this. Otherwise, how are we gonna ask and how are we gonna validate it? So let's wait here. I will keep it. Let's create the dashboard, this component. So we can come here and see where those are going. So front end, source, components, and then they are there. I will keep. Let's wait until it's complete and then we check the UI. There is some thinking and waiting, and I hope I don't have another internet connection issue. And by the way, if something drop in here, I will stop, and then I will have a new class continue where I stopped. So this may happen. Okay, now I got something. Now I need to update the login component to trigger the authentication state updating. Let's keep it. Okay. It's all about how React can do the thing. Like you need to be able to understand what this is going on. The app TSX page will give like a callback. So when login complete, we can take the logic for it. So there is a blah, blah, blah. And as you can see, AI generate way more text than we like to read, but it's good, you know? So we go here, let me just close this guy. I will do a reload and I can see here, like I can still change the theme from dark and light. And then I can do the logout. And look, I did the logout, there's a bug here and I still can see those. And I'll tell this here, or something, oops, is wrong. I execute, we log out, and I still see the oh, maybe this is just the buttons to show, but maybe if I, okay, this is not as bad as I thought, but what I like to say is change, add the dashboard product and customer as options in a menu bar at the top. Make it looks like ERP application, and later on we will have way more menu entries. I know that some normal applications, the buttons are that big, but I want to be more like a real application, like we have in here. Do you see? If each one of those was a big button in the screen, it would be very hard to use. So let's go and see how. That is one part that AI really amazed me, like how easy it is to ask for some drastic change in the how we view, and then we can get close to where we want, and then maybe we can do the little adjustment. Okay, so let's go back there and see how it goes. I reload. Oh, I guess it didn't finish yet. Okay. Let's see if there is an error and the application didn't load. No, everything looks good. Let's see, maybe he forgot to change the files. I say I still see. Oh, and another point, don't do like this to have several chains before you do commits. Every time you find something that is okay already, even if it's not perfect, commit, because then you can see only the plus, the change that is coming from what you are asking as new. Otherwise, like if you are here for hours and then we don't like something, it's hard to go back exactly where we are. Some AIs, they let you to go to that point. We found at the top. No. Look, Don, I have reverted the cleanest, simple navigation without the menu items at the top. Let's see, I'll keep it. And this is something that sometimes AI start to try to drive. Oh, I did this, I did that. No. We are the one that should be telling what has to happen and not. So just to be sure, I will stop the application and rerun just to make sure that maybe there is no kind of new component that was added that need the application to be loaded. And I say not, this is not what I asked. I need a menu application at the top that will show the options only for users that are logged. I don't you see those big buttons for each component. Let's see how it goes. If you don't pay attention, it's take control and you drive away. Because what they are doing, they are looking for the most common thing there and try to help you. And not what is the most common, is the best, or is what you need. Yeah, that is called card button here. So this kind of button here is called card, yes. So let's see. There is sign up, log. Oh, let's see if it's finished first, and then let me keep it. Let me go back there. I will do a login. I hope I have this user here, and then okay, so there is a dashboard, and then there is product and customer. That is fine for now, but if this menu grow too much, we may need to do like a drop-down menu here. We can even ask for this now. See, this is kind of what to be to one of those, but for now it's empty. There is nothing there, but it's closer to what I'm looking for. Actually, we can keep this for now, so we can finish this class. Later on, we're gonna change this menu drastically anyways. So that was the idea for the today class. But before we go, let's go here and just review the important changes. We don't need to see little thing that is like style or thing like that, but for example, there is an authentication steps. Let me hide this guy here so you can see. So as you can see, this is the front end, a TypeScript file, and there is some class there like the user, the login response, and as you can see, the login response has ID, email, the token, and then a message. So this token is exactly Java JSON Web Token that the server is going to create, send to the user. This is kind of something like even hard to believe. When you do that authentication, we're going to get that user information, put all the information there, send to the customer, and then no one can change that envelope. So when the user send every request, that Java Web Token has to come. And then we're going to compare to the one that we have in our side to make sure that is the same user that already authenticated. So we don't need to be asking password over and over again. It's kind of, they did one login, we validate it's okay, we give him a token, and then he can use this token in subsequent calls. So that is the idea. And I explained all this in the previous class. If you are in doubt, you can go here to the chat and say, could you point me in the code where the JWT is being used? For example, after the login, where the JWT is stored to be compared. That is a good thing. We don't need to store. We send to the customer. Every time the customer comes, we can validate. So let's see, for example, what happened after the login to allow subsequent calls to be authenticated. Let's see how good the explanation will be. This is something amazing because you can imagine that you are in a code that has like thousands of files. millions of lines, and then to find stuff is hard. And then you can ask, and you're gonna get like a result, like we can read this and have a better clue what is going on. So look, when the user logins, this alt service login is called. And then JWT generate JWT token generation and store. The login method does three things. This line, there is the error handling. Then calls the user controller, which generate after validate the password. Using the JWT for subsequent calls. So for any authentication API call, use get auth header. So after the login, every request has to send that token as part of the header. That is the most common thing to do. And then when that came, we get that token and then we validate. Let me see what else is important here. This is how the token is sent back to the user. No, how the client code get the token. This how it's validated in the server, and then how it's protected. So let's see what else we can do today to be very useful. I guess for the today class is okay. We're gonna be improving this, and that is it. But my advice to you is run this application and see what is going on. Put some breakpoints and try to understand what happened in there. We're gonna do some more validation later on, but for today, I think it's fine. I guess you need to follow this to understand what is happening. So, what else could we do today? I can see. Oh, let me try the application here to check something. Let's do a logout. So when there is a logout, we don't see those options. If we do a login, then we can see it. One thing that I didn't like there, look this. When we are here in the login, there is a flash here, login successful, and then you go there. Let's try to remove that. I said after a successful login, there is a delay at the page. We can see the message about the login, and after we move to the initial page. Fix that. Let's see how this goes. So look, we didn't see that, but there was like timeout to show the mess and then move there. So that was like a very bad band-aid that was put there. Like we did the login, we show the mess, and there is like a waiting. And when that wait is done, then we are moving to the other page. So that was not like a good design decision. So let's test. I'm gonna do the logout. I will go to the login. I will do this. Now we are going right away. So that is the expectation. That's it. We could ask some, I recommend you to ask for some more details and then validate everything. But basically what happened here is this. When the user do the login, the password is sent to the server. The login method is going to use the controller to use that email, get that password in the email that is encrypted. Then we will encrypt the password that the user sent to us and we compare. If that is fine, the login pass. So the server side will generate a JWT, that is a token, and will send as part of the response. The client application has to save that token, and all the next few calls, all the next several calls will send that same token. And now the server side can get that token and verify if that token, when we open it and we examine the content, is the same one that we create and match to that current user. That is my expectation, but we need to check here, go to the code and confirm that those things are happening. So for example, in our user controller, let me hide this guy. If we go down to the login, let me remove this and let's just look at the code itself. Open file. We have the create user that is from the previous class, that is part of the registration. And now we have get user and then the login. Remember that login is a public one, should not be protected because anyone could try to do the login. And the logic here is we will find the user based on the email. If we don't find, we're going to say invalid user or password. We don't tell that the email was invalid because then we're going to give a hint for whoever is attacking us. We say, if the email is not in our database, we just ignore. Then as we got that user, we have the field that is the encrypted password. So we're going to validate that API already have a method for us to validate. Is this password that is coming from the user the same as the one that we have encrypted? So this API is going to do the magic internally. You encrypt, compare, and tell us true or false. If it's false, we're going to say invalid email password. This is not good because we have two strings here, so that should be in a constant. We're going to do that improvement later on, those refactoring. Otherwise, our tech lead will see this and reject our PR, say, this should be coming from a settings, a variable, should not be like hard-coded to string message. And that is the magic. We now get the entire user information and we tell to generate the token. And that token will put not the password, but we're going to put the ID, the email, and that token that generate. And they're going to say the message, login successful. This is what is sent back to the customer. So this is what our login does at the server side. Now if you go to our login component here and we look at the code, let's go to the login button. Okay, handle submit, validate form, set loading, and on login. Do you see that we call this method? Let's go to the implementation. Go to the implementation. This guy is using something terrible here, like a hard code URL. No one should be doing this. We're going to fix this later on. But we are making the call exactly to that controller. User, the method login, and we give the information. When we get the response, look, we are using the set token to store that token. So now our application will have that token, and every subsequent call, we should send it. We didn't test yet because we don't have those calls yet. So those components, they are not using any controller because we will need to have like a product controller, customer controller, where you're going to have like a server side, a database to bring that data. So now we are not checking that yet, but that will be our next few steps. So that is the goal. What we have so far is an application that still needs some adjustment because we have, for example, as soon as I commit this code, our key will be here, and we should not be doing that. Our application is still not using HTTPS. No one should go to production to get user data without HTTPS. That means in the network, the content will be plain text. It's not going to be encrypted. But at least now we are encrypting our password, and we are make sure that whoever do the login it will be secured for subsequent calls. How we're going to do the authentication. Every new functionality that we add will be behind that authentication, and the JWT token will be used for that. Cool. So I hope I didn't confuse you, that this is clear. And the application now is one step better, because now we have some content that in theory should only be accessible for user that already login. A user that we know, only that person can see this information. Cool. Okay, so today is a Friday. I hope you enjoy the class. God bless you. Have a nice weekend. See you. Bye. And I'll do a log out. Boom. Oops.